Today we will be starting with the next part of the module 3, measurement of major diameter of a screw thread as well as measurement of minor diameter of screw threads. In the previous lecture we have seen how to measure the effective diameter of a screw thread, and we have also seen the terminology of screw threads. Now let us start how to measure the major diameter and minor diameter of screw threads. To measure the major diameter of a screw thread, we have to make use of a machine called as floating carriage diameter measuring machine. Floating carriage diameter measuring machine, or it is also called as a bench micrometer. So first take a bench micrometer in your hand and then start the process. Let us think first. I want to measure the diameter of a screw thread which I don't know. So the first step is take a standard cylinder of diameter. Listen all of you, take standard cylinder of diameter equal to the measure diameter of the screw thread which we are going to measure. Suppose I am measuring a measure diameter of a screw thread of 10 mm. For example, I am telling I am measuring a diameter of the screw thread, I know it is 10 mm. So first what I have to do, I will take a standard cylinder of the diameter which is equal to the measure diameter of the screw thread. So take a standard cylinder, correct, of measure diameter equal to the measure diameter of screw thread. Take this standard cylinder, fit it into the bench micrometer and measure its diameter. If I measure the diameter of the standard cylinder, let us assume it as capital S, which I have also written in the procedure on the screen. So imagine that the standard cylinder diameter is S, correct? Now this diameter, see here, standard cylinder diameter is S, which is already known to us. This diameter I take it, then I fit it into the anvils of the bench micrometer and I measure it. After measuring the diameter of the standard cylinder, it was found that its actual diameter is S1, means it was something less or more. The actual diameter of the standard cylinder was S1, correct? See here, the standard cylinder diameter is S, which is already known. When I measure it with the bench micrometer, it was found to be equal to S1. S1 is less or it is greater than S. Then what I do, I take the screw thread whose measure diameter I want to measure. This screw thread I fit it into the anvils of the bench micrometer and then I also measure its diameter. I found that the measure diameter of this screw thread now is equal to S2. Is S2. So how to measure the diameters now? The formula is to measure the measure diameter of screw threads, capital D, which is measure diameter, capital D is equal to S plus or minus difference of S1 and S2. Difference we have to take, correct? The measure diameter is equal to S. What is S? S is the standard cylinder diameter, which I have already mentioned, point number 1. S plus or minus difference of S1 and S2. Whether we should do plus or minus, S plus or minus, when to do? Let us imagine, for example, now the standard cylinder diameter which I had taken of 10 mm, and this standard cylinder of diameter 10 mm, I measure it by the bench micrometer and I found it is equal to 10.1. The standard cylinder diameter when measured, it was found to be 10.1, means S1 is 10.1. Then when I take the actual screw thread and measure, it was found to be, suppose it is 10.2, correct? What will be the measure diameter using the formula? So measure diameter D is equal to S. Should I take plus or minus? You come to point number 1 and 2. Standard cylinder diameter was 10, when measured it was 10.1, means it is showing more, correct? It is showing 0.1 mm more. Similarly, the measure diameter of square thread, it is also showing more. So when it is showing more, then what you take? D is equal to S minus. When the measure diameter shown by the bench micrometer is more, you do subtraction. D is equal to S minus difference of S1 and S2, correct? When the diameter of the standard cylinder shown by the bench micrometer is less, suppose actually it is 10, when I measured by the bench micrometer it is 9.9, it is showing less. In that case, in the formula use add it, D is equals to S plus difference of S1 and S2. So this is how we are going to measure the measure diameter of a screw thread. How to measure the measure diameter of if the internal threads are there? When internal threads are there, how to measure the measure diameter? We are studying of how to measure the measure diameter of external thread and now internal threads. If I want to measure the measure diameter of internal threads, then take an internal thread, correct? It is difficult to measure when the threads are integral. So what we do, we prepare a paste of wax or some POP material. That paste we fill it into the internal threads and prepare a casting. We fill it into the internal threads, and after some time, by some method, I remove that casting outside. It looks like external thread. When it looks like external thread, it is dried up using the previous method, because we know how to measure the measure diameter of external thread. So this external thread casting now looks like the casting looks like external threads only. So using this casting, once again hold it into the anvils of the bench micrometer, and as explained in the procedure, same procedure we have to adopt and find out the measure diameter of internal threads, correct? Next part, measurement of minor diameter. What is minor diameter? How to measure the minor diameter of external threads? When the threads are external, the procedure is very easy, correct? Instead of taking the flat anvils, here we take pointed anvils. When we are measuring the measure diameter, we make use of flat anvils. When we are measuring the minor diameter, instead of flat anvils, you take pointed V-shape anvils and fit into the V shape of the threads, correct? Fit it into the V shape of the threads, and then using the same procedure of measurement of measure diameter of external threads, we have to find out the minor diameter. Here, I have explained here, the procedure of measuring minor diameter of external threads is same as the procedure used for measure diameter of external threads. Only difference is we have to use V-shape anvils instead of flat anvils. The V-shape anvils fit in the shape of the threads for measuring the internal diameter. Measure the minor diameter. The procedure is explained in the first page. Okay. For internal threads, how to measure minor diameter of internal threads? When I want to measure the minor diameter of internal threads, then we have to take two wedges, two tapered parallels or two wedges as shown in the diagram. One wedge from right side and one wedge from the left side. Push the two wedges inside the internal threads of a screw thread as shown in the figure. The two wedges are slid over each other into the internal thread holes as shown in figure. When they perfectly fit, as shown in the figure, then using flat anvils micrometer, you can measure the diameter of the internal threads, correct? This is internal diameter of internal threads. The diagram is explained. In this manner, we are going to measure the measure and the minor diameter of external as well as internal threads. Okay, thank you all.